everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Rose. We have started a new series kind of thing on this platform here on YouTube, and what we're doing is we are discussing chapters within Crescent City. So this is the first time that I am reading Crescent City, the first book. So Crescent City, the House of Earth and Blood. And yeah, so every 5, 10, or 15 chapters, I'm going to be coming on here and giving you a review, going over who we met in the series so far. With that, I'll also be sharing photos, and there will be spoilers, so if you have yet to read the chapters that we are getting ready to discuss, then please pause here, read, and then follow up with us. Leave any comments or suggestions down in the comment section, and also in there, please no spoilers for the future chapters, because again, first time reading, and I'd like to go ahead and have my own theories and things like that. Now, fan art has ruined some stuff for me, but not that many. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this video and into the chapters that we are discussing today, which will be chapters 16 through 30. Yeah. The one thing that I want to point out to everybody first is that I do not go ahead and make any kind of annotations in my books. I can't. I can't. So for any of those that have been wondering, these are the highlighter strips that I use, and this is what they are called. So they're called sticky notes. You can find these on Amazon, and they are great. They are really super thin, they stick nice, they remove nicely, they don't leave any kind of a film on your page, just in case anybody was wondering on how you can annotate or highlight certain things in a book that you wish you could come back to. This is like a great option. So I've been doing that. So anyway, so let's get into this. So chapters 16 through 30, it's gotten a little bit more speed to it. Still not as fast as other books that we've read from Sarah J. Maas, though this one is reminding me more of Throne of Glass, at least the speed level as it is. If you need something that is like hot and heavy right off the gate, this series probably isn't for you. However, I'm not here for hot and heavy right off the gate. I'm here for an epic adventure, something to escape the daily woes of life, and, you know, give us just something to look forward to, you know, to escape this world and have to deal with someone else's problems and chaotic drama. Anyway, so, the first people that we've met now, chapter 16 through 30, is we have finally officially met the infamous Viper Queen. She's pretty badass looking. I think she would probably make my skin want to crawl. They did depict her like in her snake form. She was like this white opalesque scaled snake. And surprisingly enough, fan art, or the people that do the fan art, have yet to depict what her snake form looks like. So I was kind of a little disappointed that I couldn't find anything depicting her snake form, but it kind of reminds me of like Fantastic Beasts, where you have that one shifter where she's in her human form and then she can shapeshift into a snake. That's kind of what I was thinking about with this whole Viper Queen. Whether I don't know her real name yet. I don't know if we ever get to know what her actual name is, but Viper Queen is what we're going to go with. The other people that we get a little bit more information on, this one character we will never meet, she died. So that is Shahar. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing her name right. She was the leader of the rebel group, an archangel leader of the rebel group. She was also Hunt's lover, and she died at her sister's hands, if I read that correctly, which was crazy. So her sister, we did get to finally meet this, I don't know, devil incarnate person. She doesn't seem like my cup of tea. But you know, we always have to have some kind of a villain, right? I mean, we had Maeve from Throne of Glass, and we had Amarantha from ACOTAR. So, yeah. So, our villain, as I'm calling her right now, whether or not she turns out to be, but I'm kind of feeling, you know, that vibe from her, unless she's completely misunderstood. Her name is Sandrel. Sandrel? Again, hopefully I'm not butchering her name. If you guys pronounce it differently, you know, please let me know. I also haven't, maybe I should get like some kind of an Audible book. Yeah, no, I'm not into Audible. If you are, great. I can't get the same mental pictures. Anyway, so Sandrel is Shahara's sister. She's also an archangel and kind of like the archangel. Like everyone bows to her. Anyway, yeah. The second person that we got to mention, though we did not meet, is Pollux. And I'm thinking that that's Sandrel's right-hand man. And they are like, I don't know, they're into like butchery and torture and blood and... Listen, I mean, if that's what gets you off, great. But, I don't know, it just kind of sucks. So anyway, so, starting off, we have that Hunt still thinks that Bryce is a suspect in Danica's murder. He hasn't, he did. But at the point in the beginning, he didn't come out and say that yet. He's still kind of trying to feel her out. She has a lot of secrets and stuff that's hidden well beneath the surface, right? Like she's not a walking book. So he's trying to figure her out, and in doing so, kind of pisses Bryce off. And I kind of feel for her because he doesn't know her. She only knows what she's heard of him since he's, you know, the shadow of death. But it's just like, don't judge a book by its cover. This is a perfect example. Well, there's been several, but another one, right? So he thinks that she's just some party girl. She is very uppity, nose up in the air, needs to have like complete manicure, get her nails done, look all pretty, wear tight shit to make people look, when all in all it's actually just her armor. That's just what she wants people to see. It's not exactly who she is, but if they wanted to get to know who she was, they would take the time to do so. And since they don't want to, this is what they can depict, and they can come to their own conclusions. At the end of the day, she really doesn't give a flying fuck what anybody has to think, and I absolutely love that attitude about her. She was asked by Micah to go ahead and come up with a list of who might have been after Danica, and who may have also might have been after the vampire, like if they had any kind of a common connection. And Hunt just thinks she's going to work, going to bed, and not dealing with it. Like, not at all. When, in all seriousness, she's actually going around making connections and finds out that the vampire was on a dating site, has a girlfriend who was a manicurist, and that's why she went and had her nails done at this hole-in-the-wall place. And, you know, with anybody, especially us females, anytime we're at the hairdressers or nail salon, we can talk about anything and everything, and what, like, that's just what you do, you know? So, yeah, so they're there, and she's getting all of this information, and, Hunt basically is like, if you're just wasting fucking time, it's really not gonna work, you know? And she throws, like, word vomit all the shit that she's been doing, and, like, shouldn't the 33rd have, you know, figured this shit out? Why should I be doing their job when obviously they haven't made any kind of connection? So, kind of slaps him, like, she slaps him in the face, not, you know, physically, but just verbally. And he's taken back by that. Like, he doesn't know what to make of her, because he realizes that what you see is just armor. It's just a cover. It's not exactly who she is skin deep. So, yeah. So that was pretty cool. I like that this whole dynamic that we've got going on between them. The only connection that Bryce has found so far was that Danica and the vampire knew of the Viper Queen. Of course, everybody knows of her, but Danica actually had to work with the Viper Queen in some past investigations that they had to do. They didn't really go into too much detail on that, so ultimately, at the end of it, since Bryce has made a connection, she wants to go see this Viper Queen and find out, like, what's going on. What do you have? Do you have any information? Do you have an alibi for the day that Danica died or the day that the vampire died? Like, what's your ordeal, right? So Hunt's like, yeah, well, she's got her own territory, which is over in the meat market, and we're gonna need to get approval before we can just go traipsing into her territory. Bryce is like, yeah, sure, you do that. I seriously thought Hunt was gonna fucking kill her. Because all of a sudden she's like, yeah, good night. And she sneaks out the back door to her scooter and starts zipping through the city, heading towards the meat market. And thanks to some lovely wind, Hunt got a sniff of her scent and was like, what the actual fuck, and follows her and makes this ridiculous scene, and is like, I'm don't ever fucking do that again. Like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Like, seriously. Like, we're now, like, he's worried about, I think, his job mainly and what Micah's gonna think. I don't think he's worried about his life. Like, he can take care of himself. But I think he is more worried about what Micah, his boss, is going to say, with him not following protocols. But it's really not him, it's Bryce, and he's got to protect Bryce per Micah. So I'm going to get answers one way or another, whether we do it your way or my way. And if you don't like my way, well, then there's the door. Like, go for it, whatever. So, yes. So I love this whole back and forth battle of, like, who's going to be the stronger willed. So when we get to the meat market, Hunt is also taken back by Bryce. She's very familiar with the whole layout of the meat market. She knows certain vendors, says hi to them as she's walking by, kind of grazing, but not really grazing. Like, she's making her appearance known so that it can get to the right channels and it can all cycle down to the queen of the territory, our Viper Queen. So she ends up going into this door that doesn't look like anything. It's an unmarked door. Finds this guy who is, I think, half goat, half human, kind of. Like, I pictured him as the little goat guy from Narnia. Whether or not that's right, I may be totally fucking off base. But that's what I got, the little guy from Narnia. So, I'm going to find a picture and he's just going to pop up here. But, that guy. So she's talking to him and she's like, listen, I need like 7 pounds of black salt. So black salt is for summoning only. Like, it's really bad shit. You don't want to be the one buying it because you're going to be looked at a certain way, right? So, step 1. Step 2, she says that it's for her boss. So Jessica doesn't know anything about this, actually, from what I've gathered. And, the creature's like, yeah, no, it's kind of like against the law for us to do that. And she's like, yeah, well, you know what? This is what my boss needs, and I know you've got it. So, what's your price? And he's like, 20,000. And she's like, yeah, no, 10. And he's like, yeah, no, I don't ever go that low. And she's like, okay, so basically here's how it's going to go. And she's like, I'm going to have Danica's people, or not Danica, Jessica's people are going to be here in like less than, I don't know, 60 seconds or something. And the guy's starting to like sweat bullets. And he's like, fine, fine, fine. So he goes, he gets the salts. And she's like, and we're talking 10,000 for the price. And he's like, yes, fine, yes, like, please, like, I don't want to be turned into any kind of a fucking creature with your boss, and I don't need my queen getting pissed off at me either, so yes, just take it and leave. And so she calls Jessica and is like, you can call off your dogs. And Jessica's like, completely must be used to some kind of language that her and Bryce have. And Jessica just laughs and is like, of course. And Hunt's like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, he's completely clueless in the dark, but isn't trying to show it. And Bryce is keeping up this whole facade of, like, I got the salt. I know that we can now buy it from him. So whoever's summoning this demon that keeps coming in and slaughtering people is getting their salt either from this person or from somebody else. So this is making our our Viper Queen very high on the suspect list with what can happen within her territory, right? So, so what happens? They get ready to leave, and, who's standing in the doorway? But our Viper Queen, and is like, yeah, so I heard that I'm like a suspect, and Bryce is like, what? And Hunt's like, no, what are you talking about? And she's like, yeah, come with me. So she takes them down all these like different pathways, whatever, and they come to this room, which, thank you fan art, because you were able to depict it, and it's exactly how I envisioned it. But she's in this rusted room with like this ancient fucking computer, and it's like, yeah, here's my alibi, like, you have nothing on me. They get to talking, they ask some questions, you know, verbatim for whatever, and the alibi checks out. Victoria from the 33rd checks it all. It's good. They have nothing to go on. So, luckily, the Viper Queen didn't want anything from them. She allows them to leave. No questions asked, you know, no harm, no foul, thank God. Which from what I'm gathering, both of them are very lucky to be leaving after getting her attention. So, I want to see more about that. Like, besides what she can turn into a fucking snake and probably eat you. Why are we so scared of her? Like, what's so big and bad about her? So I'm hoping we get more background on our Viper Queen, okay? So far as people are looking, as Bryce is looking for different people, whatever, even the Viper Queen has told her, like, you want to look to where it's going to hurt the most. So basically your inner circle, someone from your inner circle knows something about Danica's death, maybe about the vampire, but like, you're trying to solve Danica's thing, right? And someone within your close-knit circle knows something. So Bryce is starting to think about her inner circle. One of my theories was Fury is an assassin, and we've only heard about Fury. We've never met her. She's somewhere else, but could whoever she works for have wanted her to summon this demon and maybe kill Danica? I could be totally wrong, but I mean, close to home, like, I don't think you can get any closer to home than that, right? Like, she's a friend. Anyway, just my theory. So, if we remember correctly, I believe back chapters 1 through 5, Jessica had asked Bryce to look for Luna's horn. And then Rune's dad, the Autumn King, had also then asked Rune to look for Luna's horn. So now we have besides for this whole murder going on, which is our like inner circle, which we're trying to focus on, we now have this other circle kind of hovering about Luna's horn, right? And so in the midst of these chapters, the Raven, which Briggs was trying to blow up back in the beginning, and that's what Danica and her team had gotten him arrested on, someone blows up the Raven. And Hunt, Bryce, and Rune are all there, and Juniper. So prior to the Raven blowing up, and the reason why that's so important is because Rune has been trying to track down different things about Luna's horn, and in doing so, he found some kind of an ancient text written in old Fey language. Not sure if it's word marks or not, but I'm kind of just thinking like old Fey language has always been weird kind of markings. And if you don't know about wade marks, go read Throne of Glass. We're not, yeah. Anyway, so Rune's telling them, like, listen, I found this, and I did find something on the demon. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce the demon's name, but we're just going to call him a demon, right? So Rune proceeds to tell them that the demon was created and can be found in a lightless pit, which is why his skin is very pale, and like his claws and the fangs are very crystallized, is because he's born from like the purest darkness. Okay, so they also go to Luna's temple to take a look around and try to see if they see anything there. And within Luna's temple, there's also no cameras, so they can talk without anybody seeing, overhearing, or anything like that. And Rune comes in to tell them that, listen, the horn's broken, but maybe it's not, and that's just what they're telling us. From what he read, the Starborn, which is what he is, he's the chosen one, this whole prince of this Starborn ability. Only Starborns can activate the horn with their power, like something. I don't know if they have to. I honestly don't know how it works because we haven't gotten that far yet. But only a Starborn can wield the power to cause the horn to, one, repair itself, and two, then work. And we found out that the horn, besides for closing rifts between worlds, it can also open up rifts between worlds. Not funny. Anyway, so, well, so we have this. Who and why would somebody want to open up a rift in Crescent City to go somewhere else? So that's a big question. Rune also found out that this demon, which isn't affected by the horn, from how I'm interpreting it, and again, I could be interpreting it wrong, but the demon was created from the blood of the first Starborn, so that he could destroy the horn, which doesn't make sense now that I'm thinking about it. If we have a demon that keeps showing up, like Danica was killed, and the night before she was on duty at Luna's temple, and then she died. I haven't figured out anything about the vampire yet in Luna's horn, but it's all tied together somehow. And here's another thing. If the demon was created by using the blood of the first Starborn person, then could the demon then also use the horn? I don't know that, but I mean, if somebody can summon the demon and control the demon, then why couldn't the demon then use the horn to open up a door or whatever? Because he has possibly the same starborn power, since he's made of the starborn phase blood. That's interesting. Anyway, so in the midst of everything, and yes, we still have that the raven blew up. I will get back to that. Before the raven blows up, there's another death. And this death is from an acolyte or a priestess of the Luna's temple that's right there by the Heart Gate, which is very close to Bryce's home, and where her and Danica would always spend like time. It's right there near the Raven, and you know the Heart Gate is right there in the center of the city. The acolyte's dead. She's shredded, just like the vampire, just like Danica. And come to find out, the acolyte that was also now deceased was there the night that the Luna's horn was stolen, which was also the same night that Danica was on duty. So there's something, I don't know if it has to do with the date of when the horn was stolen, or just whoever could have been around to see who stole the horn. And this demon is being summoned to cover up their tracks. That could be a good theory. So anyway, so we have this whole death, right? And Hunt is like, we need to go here because I need to, one, observe and find out some information. And you're coming with me because I'm not leaving you out of my sight. And Bryce is like, because she doesn't want to fucking have to go back through all the memories of Danica from fucking 22 months ago. So, what's Hunt do? He's a typical person that goes right into their job mode and forgets feeling and all sense of the other person and what they could be going through, and drags her to this crime scene where she basically turns white as a ghost, and Rune comes up to save her and is like, you don't need to see this. To then Hunt turn around and go, oh, fuck. Yeah, I fucked up, and I fucked up bad. So, yes. So we have this whole thing. And then Bryce goes to the Raven to get a drink, right? To like decompress after all of that. Rune follows her and Hunt finally shows up. And Hunt's all like, you know, you should probably eat something. And she's like, why? What the fuck's the point? And he's automatically thinking that this cup that she's constantly tossing back is vodka. And she's got this huge pitcher of fucking vodka. And come to find out, it's fucking water. So she's not a party girl like everybody thinks she is. However, she stopped drinking 2 years ago. Might as well say 2 years ago, when Danica died. She also stopped dancing when Danica died. Almost like the half of her soul died with Danica. And she's yet to come to terms with any of that. So what happens? She is like, again, you're judging shit based off of what people are saying. You have no idea who the fuck I am. Goes to go to the bathroom. Juniper's following her just to kind of put her mind at ease. The Raven blows up. Bryce jumps on top of Juniper to save her so that she doesn't fucking die, because Bryce is like, I don't need another friend to die. She's now deaf from the blast, and Juniper's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I made the drop. Like, I'm now pretty much immortal. Like, my body would have healed. You're still mortal, you stupid bitch. And like, bitch slaps fucking Bryce. Like, seriously, it should have been the other way around. Juniper should have jumped on Bryce to save her. So Bryce gets really cut up. Again, she can't hear. She's got blood coming out of her ears. Runa's like, we need to get the fuck out of here. Like, whatever is happening, we need to get out of here. So Rune and Juniper go. Hunt and Bryce go to Rune's house there inside the city. And while Hunt's fixing her up, he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you weren't a suspect after seeing how you were today at the crime scene. Like, I totally can now see that I was completely way off base. There's no way that you would have committed a murder and killed somebody. And, like, I truly fucked up. So, you know, she's kind of sitting there and she's still in a daze and she can finally start hearing. And he's like, you know, she's like, well, whatever happened with the angel, whatever. And he's like, oh, Micah's fine. And she's like, wait, Micah, the governor? Like, that's the angel I saved? And he's like, oh, fuck. You weren't supposed to know who you saved. Like, Micah didn't want anybody knowing because it would make him look weak. Which, really, it doesn't. But it just shows that not everybody is invincible. Like, with whatever the fuck this demon is or whatever it has in its blood, you need to be careful. So she's like, oh, huh. So, like, saved Micah's ass. Maybe that's the reason he wants me on this whole fucking, I'm not even going to say adventure, but on the case, right? Like, he feels that he owes her something, and maybe if she can figure out who the killer is, they're even? No, bitch. Like, you owe her a life debt. She saved your fucking life. You've got a lot. A lot. Anyway, so yes. So there was the other, like, big, like, seriously, the angel she saved in the beginning, the first 5 chapters, was Micah, the governor of Lunathon? Crescent City, whatever. So there was that. So, Rune then comes back to the house where Bryce and Hunt are and is like, so I've got some bad news. And he goes, so we figured out where the bomb was. The bomb came in with like a shipment of wine. And here's the wine crate. And on the wine crate, it shows a C. However, because it was kind of blown apart, it could have also been a horn. And not a C. And I was like, huh. So then Hunt and Bryce are like, okay, so do the rebels have the horn? Are the rebels, like, finishing Break stuff? Was Breaks after the horn? Like, who is this? Now, I've already written off Briggs and his rebellion. Because he's, not that because he's in prison, because people can get shit to outside people from fucking prison. Like, obviously. But it's just too... That's just not Sarah J. Maas's style, first of all. It's too clear of a path, right? Sarah J. Maas likes to get you going in one direction and then totally fuck you from the left side. Like, well, I'm pointing to the right, but whatever. Like, it's not in the direction you were going. So I'm setting myself up with, I'm not following this direction she wants you to think you're supposed to be going in. I'm waiting for the shoe to drop and the bomb to go off. Like, that's what I'm waiting for. So, in doing all of this, with the horn and everything, Rune tells Bryce he wants access to the gallery's library that's underneath the gallery. And she's like, yeah, what library? And he's like, yeah, don't fuck with me. And she's like, okay, well, if I'm going to give you that, then one of your Coonies needs to go ahead and give me some information. Like, Danica's entire week before she died, week of she died, like, all of her whereabouts. And the pack should have all of that. There shouldn't be any minutes not accounted for within Danica's day. So he's like, fine. So they go down. He's hoping that whatever starborn power he has will help try to locate something to help them find the horn or this demon or both. You know, like, it's all within the same kind of wheelhouse now. So the demon is no longer just the center and we have the horn outside. They're now interwoven somehow, which is pretty cool. So Hunt already had access to the gallery library. Rune now has access to the gallery library. Bryce is like, don't fucking tell Jessica because I don't want to be turned into anything. And Rune is like, oh yeah, so my dad, because Hunt's there and Hunt doesn't know that the Autumn King is Bryce's dad yet. Can't wait for that shoe to drop. But Rune is like, so my dad wants you to be under constant surveillance, so I guess I'm moving in with you. And she's like, the fuck you are? She's like, did he give you specifics as into who's going to be living with me? And Rune's like, no. And she's like, yeah, so you're not, but Hunt is. So now Rune's pissed off that Hunt gets to live with Bryce instead of him, so that Rune and Bryce can kind of amend their relationship after shit went down, which we get some bits and pieces of it in the next couple of chapters. We'll hit on those later. But you know, he's looking for that healing. He wants his sister back in his life, but Bryce isn't ready to let bygones be bygones. So Hunt now has access to her hotel, her house, and yes. So we still have some sexual tension between Bryce and Hunt. I did highlight one thing. So when Hunt brings Bryce back to Rune's house and he's like cleaning up her scratched legs or whatever, her leg, he thought that the scar from the demon slicing her in chapter 4 or 5, like she would have had it tailored to be fixed. So it wouldn't have been on her beautiful skin, which come to find out when he was down there in between her legs and her skirt shifted to reveal this scar, he's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe she didn't fucking get it fixed. And he's not gawking at her, but gawking at the fact that she's not anything like what he thought. And he's taken very aback by that. And at the same point, we have Bryce going, hold on, I've got to find it. So she says to Hunt, when males are kneeling between my legs, they're not usually grimacing. And he's like, what? He didn't realize that he was still gripping her calf. And then he starts like realizing that he was indeed kneeling between her thighs and leaning ever so closely into her lap, seeing the star. So he reeled back, unable to help the heat rising to his face, and grounded out, sorry. Like, it was very hysterical. Like, she's probably watching, like, whatever the hell he's doing. He stops, and she's like, what? And, like, I just got the whole, it was a fantastic picture. So, anyway. Hey, guys. So, I am sitting here and I'm editing, and I just realized I completely forgot about another main part that I totally forgot to put into the main video. So, this is just going to go in there as a tidbit, obviously, because I'm not in the same seat. But we got to meet Sandral, and I forgot to mention that. So, after Rune told Bryce that she's got to have someone stay with her and live with her, and she elected Hunt to do that, they go back to the barracks, to the 33rd barracks, so that he can grab his belongings, so that he can physically stay there with her. And in doing so, they are upstairs, they come down the elevator, and as they're coming down, all of the other angels and whatever creatures, I guess, that are part of the 33rd, are all scrambling to either get out or get to the door to see who's coming in. Because, lo and behold, here comes Micah with Sandral in tow. So, as she comes through the door to make her grand entrance, everyone starts to bow, except for Hunt, Bryce, and then Isaiah coming running up behind him going, oh shit, I was trying to warn you that she was on her way in. So, in the midst of all this, everyone's bowing. Bryce, Hunt are like, what the fuck? Bryce is like, he's about to fucking explode. I can't tell, actually, I can't tell if he wants to explode from rage or if he just has the fear that he may explode from rage, right? And then you have Bryce that's like, what do I do? How do I make this situation better? Don't you know this bitch all of a sudden is like, oh my god, they're finally here. Let's take a selfie. Starts snapping pictures. Turns the phone around on her and Hunt and it's like click click with Sandro right behind them. Sandro's like, what the fuck? This is so goddamn disrespectful. Micah's fuming. And Bryce is like, oh, thank you so much for giving me the introduction. This is so cool. And then drags Hunt back into the elevators, right? So as the elevator is getting ready to shut, Micah comes in and he's like, what the fuck? And Hunt's like, I need to come back to the barracks to grab my things. And Bryce is like, yeah, he's now going to be staying in my house to further protect me. And so Micah's like, what? And like Micah tries to grab, actually he doesn't try, he grabs Bryce's arm and she's like, you can let go. And he's like, I want to take you out to dinner. And she's like, yeah, no. And Micah's like taken back. Like, this is the first time he's ever been fucking rejected. Hunt's like, I can't tell if Hunt is like, oh my god, did she seriously just turn him down? Or, oh my god, I'm completely in fucking love with this woman. Like, it's amazing. So we get to meet the devil incarnate bitch comes waltzing through the door. Micah, of course, is trying not to look completely off guard. And yeah, it was great. So I just needed to give you guys that tidbit because we did get to meet Sandra, and Pollux was in tow somewheres but didn't make the appearance. Yep. So I just wanted to add this little tidbit in there because I completely forgot. But yeah, so let's get back to the main video. We have a couple of theories. Could the Viper Queen actually be hiding the fact that maybe she does in fact have the horn and know where the demon's coming from? Or could the little goat guy know where the demon's coming from if he indeed is selling the salt to the person summoning them? We also know now that the horn and the demon are woven together, so we'll probably kill two birds with one stone. You know, we find out who the demon was. That then lets us know who then killed Danica and the vampire and now this acolyte. And hopefully in doing so, they find the horn. Unless the demon is also after the horn, then we are completely off base. I've ruled out Phillips Briggs and his rebels from having the horn, though maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they do have the horn and are just trying to kill off the people that are looking for the horn. But for whatever reason, it feels like there are messages being sent directly now to our three main characters, Rune, Bryce, and Hunt, because they are all looking for the horn or gathering information on the horn. And the demon has now killed off Danica, killed off somebody that Bryce was talking to the day that she talked to him, the vampire. They went to Luna's temple, then the acolyte died, and then they show up at the Raven, then the Raven blows up, and there's a crate with the horn on it. So, in the gist of all of this, there's a lot going on, and I can't wait to start seeing it unravel more. Besides for that, we have this sexual tension, which romance is going to start between Hunt and Bryce. I want to find out more about that. I also can't wait to see what kind of interaction we have between Sandra, Pollux, and Hunt, because Sandra used to own Hunt. So there's a lot of old grudges, maybe even revenge there for Hunt towards Sandra. Besides for that, Sandra fucking killed her sister, who Hunt was in love with and is still in love with. And it's been 2 centuries, so 200 years since Shahara had died. And Hunt is still grieving to this day and hasn't let anybody in. So I find that fascinating as well. Which, here's a new theory, and then we're going to end it here. Could Sandra be the one that's looking for the horn to open up a rift into some world, so she's the one summoning the demon? That could be one. Or does Micah know who has the horn or who may have stolen the horn, since the demon also attacked him? Because the demon hasn't attacked anybody else other than who was there or had known or could have known something about the horn's disappearance. We had Danica and her whole entire pack are dead. The acolyte who was there is now dead. Micah is the last living person who was physically attacked by this demon, not because the demon got in its way. The demon had singled him out and was trying to kill him until Bryce came and fucking got the demon to run away. So I think Micah may even know something that hasn't come into play just yet. So that was chapters 16 through 30. What are your comments? And if you're reading along, what are your theories? Like, do you have anything that doesn't line up with mine? Or do you have something that lines up with mine but goes maybe a little bit deeper? Like, that's the stuff that I'm looking for. Anywho, I can't wait to keep reading. I'm going to go ahead and get this video up for you as soon as possible. Hopefully by tomorrow, Saturday the 24th. I'm filming this now. This is Friday. I'm hoping that I can go ahead and maybe even get this edited all down, get the pictures added for everybody to see who these fabulous characters are that we are talking about, and then upload everything for you to go live tomorrow. But in the meantime, if you are reading, please continue reading. Happy reading. For any of those that are following along that haven't read this series, if you like a lot of world building, where we are definitely going to have a fantastic mental visual of the world, a great story so far, with some slow burn heated potential, pick it up, start to read it, read along with me, come join the fam. I can't wait to go ahead and see you guys soon. If you have any suggestions for me, please also leave those in the comments as well. And I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you have a wonderful night. Have a great weekend. And have a blessed day. Bye.